Didn't know you. I mean, I'm glad. I'm just glad that we're a launch pad for you, Grant.
Well, it's not. I don't. It's a school thing. It's not even a. I don't know if it's a launch.
Walk-ons are going to take credit for that. Welcome into the podcast, another episode. Grant just let us know that he's interviewing university coaches now on his own for his own stuff. What can you divulge what it's for? Is it just for a class project?
Yeah, I mean it's literally it's like a podcast class.
God, I wish they would have had that.
Yeah, and there you just got to do interviews, and I thought I don't even. I feel like it's weird if I say the coach's name before it actually happens.
Yeah, we'll keep it under wraps.
So
but
Coach X, I thought was a good could be a good source. So
could be a good source.
Fired out you fire out an email, see what happens, and here we are.
A couple comments on the YouTube, by the way, say they miss the intro music and that you guys suck.
I saw the comments about the first part of that sentence, but yeah, I mean, I don't whatever the people want.
I mean, I can always just I can always just rip. It's right there at the ready. And I always have
Kevin Ward. Good to see him back out there.
Haven't had that one not come out.
That's really the best one that we have. Gary Dolph. Can you imagine? Going back to that conversation we had last episode, how amazing it would be to sit, Kev, just to imagine sitting in the booth with Gary during a game.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be awesome.
It would be incredible.
We can all watch a game together whenever you guys want. So I'm flattered by your compliment.
Gary.
We did. We went to the season opener last year, Gary.
Yeah, I had a great time.
Actually, yeah, you're right.
It's fantastic.
We watched
the first 3 minutes of the game thinking, oh my God, we got it.
We're back.
This is
We're going to score 70 points a game,
yeah,
allow only 3, and cruise to the national championship. That was my thoughts.
Yep, and that was the first 3 minutes of the Hawkeye football season, and things changed from there. But
isn't it funny how one play and timing and expectation and anticipation of the season, like it's like first offensive
teams, like, oh my God, we're gonna be unstoppable.
I think the receiver who caught that pass was the Seth Anderson.
Yeah,
it was the transfer from like South Alabama or something, and then Seth was he was part of the offense, but he was. I mean, did he even score any more touchdowns after that? Is that his only touchdown?
I don't want to know the answer to that question.
Grant,
I'm gonna guess no.
Check Anderson's stats. And then we'll take off his 50 yards, 1 catch, 1 touchdown from that first play. Obviously, this is a futile thing for me to ask the producer here on this show with our circumstance because of how the Iowa offense has performed the last couple of years.
It was, in fact, his only touchdown of the season.
Okay, and how many catches did he have last year?
11.
Okay, so that was 9% of his catches. And how many yards did he have?
He had 150.
So he had a third of his yards, 10% of his catches, and his only touchdown in the first offensive play of the year.
I don't think it was the first play, but it was the first drive.
Or first big offensive play of the year. Yeah, it's just funny how expectations like that. I mean, you could feel it in the booth that day. We were up in the press box. We were high society that day. Just looking down at the heat,
which is good because it was a toasty day that day.
It was hot, and those ice cream sandwiches at the end of the third quarter, they hit.
Oh yeah,
life changing. I think about that 3 times a week minimum. Those ice cream
I think about it every day. In fact, I'm thinking about ice cream right now. As many of you know, I do a Sunday Culver's every Sunday. And you're like, Tyler, how are you so absolutely
just dying to get sponsored, aren't you?
That's all I want. That's all I want.
What do you do? What side do you get with your
cheese curds?
Butterburger. You go the cheese curds? Okay.
Absolutely. Triple Butterburger with just cheese on it. So basically a plain cheeseburger, triple. Cheese curds on the side.
Of course.
2 scoop hot fudge sundae. That is my Sunday meal. It is about, oh God, what is it? It's 2,350 calories. It's dense. It's dense.
I mean, that's a lot of cheese.
It's a lot. It's a lot of cheese. Kevin's like eyes are up doing the math. He's just like, it's a lot of cheese. You gotta watch if you guys aren't watching the YouTube, what are you doing? Which, by the way, when Grant goes off and gets a big boy job and he's like, hey, and he eventually sends me the message, and I know it's coming. Grant, I know it's coming. Grant's like, hey, we got to talk. And then I'm gonna have that drop in my stomach. I'm gonna have the butterflies in my heart, and I'm gonna know that it's that. Hey, I've loved being a part of the brand, but I got this. I got to focus on the job that's actually paying me, and Grant's going to go and leave us. And Kevin, as you know, he's the CEO of Stryker. He's got a lot going on, and eventually he is going to run out of interest for this podcast, this show, and I will be left to my own devices here on this thing. And so the YouTube's going to become a vital portion at that point, because I think at that day, I'm just going to become like a daily Hawkeye news show. And if there's no news, we'll get on, we'll hop on, talk for 10, 15 minutes, chat away with everybody that's fans of the show every morning. And, we'll do like 2 longer form or 1 long form podcast a week. In season, we'll still do the breakdowns, try and bring people on. But the YouTube is going to become and become more and more a vital part of this whole operation. So I just want you guys to subscribe, hit the bell, notifications, leave comments down below. Tell me what you think Grant's first real job is going to be. And we'll go from there.
People are going to be sending me to Deloitte if you're having them guess.
Deloitte?
I don't know. I'm assuming people would just guess like Grant does big boy job first. I don't know.
What's your degree in right now?
It's journalism. Is my degree.
I don't think Deloitte hires journalists.
No, they do not. They do not. No.
Well, our friend Bo, who I don't know if you've met Bo in person, but you will soon at the golf tourney. He got I'm not even sure what his major's in, and he has been both an engineer and a doctor. That's a joke, at least. He does what Kevin does, but we call him. He's been an engineer and a doctor, and he got his degree in
geographical survey.
Yeah, surveying, land surveying. So you can really be anything you want to be, Grant.
Yeah,
trying our best. Yeah.
Especially if you've put yourself into $150,000 worth of debt.
And you lie on your resume. That's big too.
True.
Lie or bend the truth.
It could be bending.
I saw a Twitter post, and it was like it was a guy like put on like 5 years of experience on his resume, and he's like 24, and he got the job. And like he had like previous like referrals, and he had like people like
lying for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's on LinkedIn. At the bottom under your skills, you can like vouch for people's skills.
Yeah. Like Kevin, like on my LinkedIn, I can vouch for Kevin's like literacy in Microsoft PowerPoint.
Yeah, like yep, I witnessed Kevin do Excel extraordinarily well.
Yeah,
many times. Yes,
Kevin's communication skills are off the chart. Trust me.
I'm sure the Grant Allen stamp of approval will mean a lot to these employers.
I've only had to, so before I created my own path that we're on right now, good or bad decision, you have to be determined. But once upon a time, Kev, you remember when I worked for the Ninja Warrior gym?
Oh, yeah.
I was for those new to the podcast in the last 3 years. What'd you say?
That was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a long time. It was pre-2020. It was 2019 fall or late summer. I stopped working there, but I worked there for about 1.5 years. I was the GM. I was the general manager of a Ninja Warrior kids gym, like just basically a big American Ninja Warrior. There's a bunch of rings and ladders and foam pits and all this stuff. And I managed that place in Clive, Iowa for about 18 months. And that's the only time I've had to turn in a resume, to the guy who actually owned the place. He owned the 5 locations they had or whatever, like 3 in Omaha and 1 up here in Des Moines and 1 somewhere else. And that was like truly one of those times where like, if you're going to put some references down on your on your resume, the references need to be people who are like ride or dies. Like they call up your reference and they're like, hey, this guy says he's got a 240 IQ and He reads a book every other day. Yep, that's my guy right there, Tyler. Best friend since 3rd grade. What do you want to know about him?
You need a yes man.
Somebody calls me and they're like, "Hey, Kevin Ward wrote you down as a reference. I just got a couple questions about him." Yeah, sure. What do you want to know?
Also, if you kind of run in similar tracks of life at some point, or like you kind of, run in the same crowd a little bit, like in your professional career, people will call references that you don't even list. It's like, hey, tell me about this guy.
Just people they know you.
Yeah, exactly. So one job that I applied for way back when, called one of the coaches on the Iowa staff because they had a contact who also played at Iowa. And
I didn't think about that. Yeah, a former coach. Yeah, that would be, especially for someone like you, Kev, that was more of like a public career, like a more obviously you and I have the athlete experience on our resume. And so that's a pretty okay, well, if you played,
that's all I had coming out of college, right?
It's really all we got at all.
Yeah. It's like, how can you, sell this experience as a way that you're going to succeed in a professional career. But
if someone ever calls me Kev, just know I'm telling them you're 3% body fat, 10 inches below the waist. And this guy can get a deal done. He can sell whatever you need to. This guy he's good for it. Okay. Don't worry.
Did you tell him that one time
you wrote a 3-part series?
What?
You wrote a 3-part book series?
Yeah. And that one time that with his dedication that we watched Game of Thrones in 2 weeks.
I figured you would have just listed that on your resume.
I really should, honestly.
Grant, you know this, right?
Skills. Can watch Game of Thrones at an incredible rate. I have heard this story, yes.
Yeah, Kevin and I watched the entire, at the time, there was only 60 episodes only. 6 seasons were out. And
only 60 hours of television.
And Kevin and I got into it because the 7th season was coming out that fall. And so we had to get it in, and it was summer. And we had nothing but a 2.5-hour workout in the mornings during summer. So in a matter of, I believe it was 14 days, but me and Kevin both went home in the weekend in the middle of that and didn't watch any episodes for 2 whole days. So it was really in a 12-day time frame. We watched 60 episodes of Game of Thrones, some of which got out to like 75, 90 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we put in some 12-episode days here and there.
It was, Kevin and I would just look at each other and end of a good episode, they leave you on a cliffhanger. We just kind of look at each other like, well, can't stop now, And
it's like, that's the end of the season. It's like, can't stop.
Gotta start the next season. Yeah. Truly, Kev, best 2 weeks of my life.
I think we watched the first season in a little over a day. I think
it was about a day and a half. I think we started after the workout about noon, and we finished like 1 or 2 the next day.
Probably like 24 hours later.
Yeah. Yes. It was the best time of my life. Maybe
I would give a lot of money to be able to do that for the first time again.
Well, and this is why I'm excited. I know we've mentioned it. And I know people don't care, and this is why quite frankly, it's dry season. We're going to talk about the draft here in a second. We got 4 boys going places. So I'll direct you in the front of the episode to that time stamp here in a second, but we got some personal conversation going on here. You got to buy into the host. You really build the brand here. You build the walk-ons. Who is Grant? Who is Kluver? Who is Kevin? What do they like? How many hours of Game of Thrones did they watch in a row? I can give people that random fact now. This is why I'm very excited for this week, Kev, because at the time of recording this, in about 90 hours, 70, 85 hours, we're going to be flying out to Vegas. And this will be the first time in 8 years, first time in 7 years, 6 years, whenever we left campus. So it was 2018. So yeah, it was exactly 6 years ago that I will have hung out with the boys, just the boys, no kids, no wives, just the boys, since we walked away from the from the Benton driveway.
Fuck.
Yeah. This is the first time in 6 years.
There's probably been a handful of times. It's probably under 5 that we.
I know you've
all them together, but
yeah.
Why is like usually it's weddings, right? It's like
the
wives are there and stuff.
Yeah, the wives and kids are both there.
Nothing
against the wives and kids or the significant others and kids if they have them, but
the last time it was just the 6 of us.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be a couple of my high school buddies there as well, but yeah, that's insane, man.
I realized that this weekend, and that's pretty much why I've been excited for 3 months.
Well, let's hope it happens.
There's a big caveat there.
It's not for certain.
Yeah. So
praying.
Yeah. We're hoping it comes through.
Yeah,
you and I will be there.
That is honestly what I'm most excited for, is that we have to get all the boys back together.
It's really sad. You hear about it when you're in college. Of course, on the team, you always hear like, hey, you guys are never going to get this again. You can't buy this. You can't buy the time with your teammates, the time in the locker room, all this stuff. But what you don't like, you can't buy the time outside the locker room either. Mm-hmm. Like having a wife and kid is amazing and life-changing and all the great adjectives in its own other way. But there's a different lane that your friends fill. And it's a little bit more exaggerated for me because I don't really this sounds so sad. I don't have any friends. Like
I mean, I think this is kind of part of just growing up, man. It's like your friends, especially when your college friends move across the country, you don't live in the same hometown as your high school friends. Like all my high school friends went off to college, moved back to outside Chicago.
Yeah.
Every single one. So, and then the college friends, like I stayed here and everyone fucking left.
Everybody left.
It's like, and yeah, you can make friends like at work, you can make friends outside of that stuff, but it's like there's no bonding experience like there is like with your high school friends or with like your college football buddies. There's nothing that can get you closer than that.
Right. Yeah. So like I would consider you, this is like very we'll call it frat douche. Like I would consider you the house and then 2 buddies from back home, Riley and Blake. I would call you my boys.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Look
at me, man. It's look at the bachelor party. It's
right.
It's the house. I invited Jake. He didn't come because he's a bitch.
Jake's not coming.
No, he got crushed with weddings this year. So
he's worthless.
Yeah, I know. And then it's 3 of my best high school buddies, and then Alyssa's brother, and it's going to be one of my hometown friends who I didn't go to high school with. Yeah,
so like I have you 5 and then 2 from home. So I have 7 like true boys. Like I text them every day. We text every day in the Benton chat. Like it's an ongoing conversation that hasn't stopped since when we left each other in 2018. And then I have 3 friends, not boys, but friends that are adjacent in my life. I see them once every 6 weeks because we all have kids now here in town, and they are the significant others of my wife's friends from college. Mm. So Ben, Nick, and Justin are the husbands of my wife's 3 best friends that I did not know until I met them in college when I would visit Lauren. And they're not my boys, but they're my friends. Like they're the only friends I have in Des Moines. And I don't go to an office. And I know like you don't go to an office either, Kev, but you at least like, doctors, other salesmen in your profession. You see.
I get a ton of human contact in my job. That's all my job is.
I get 0.
Yeah.
I get 0. I train in my gym and the last since January, I started going to the gym once a week. So I could train with Cole Fish and 2 of the other guys up there that are like, I would actually call them maybe my newest friends. And I get to see them once a week. And like, I go not for the gym equipment because I get to like see somebody other than myself. It's really, really sad. So just 20 minutes of like sadness on the front end of this episode. But like,
I bet there's a ton of people that can relate to that. It's like, you move on in your life and you start a family and you don't get much time with your friends anymore. And yeah, like your friends that you did have might not be near you. And it's tough to make new friends when you're an adult, man.
And you don't even want to.
It's like, yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Now, luckily for me, like I get like I said, a ton of human contact. Like,
yeah, you do.
Like interaction all day. And like, I do a bunch of dinners and stuff with.
And I'm a hermit.
I'm like, yeah. So my social need as a human being is met by my career.
Now I will be entering a new stage of life. Kin Diesel is going to get older and older, and she's going to get into sports, and she's going to get into activities where I am going to be forced, and I'm dreading it. Absolutely not looking forward to it. I've already experienced it a little bit in the neighborhood because all she wants to do is go outside and play with the puppies, and there's other little kids running around. So then I have to interact with their fucking parents, dude.
I tell you what, man, I wouldn't be too dismissive about that. So 2 of my best friends from hometown.
Okay.
We became friends. The oldest one played baseball with Patrick, my oldest brother, growing up.
Okay.
Middle one played with Ryan.
Yep.
And now our sets of parents are best friends.
Really?
Like, they're best friends. They travel together, go on vacation together, and like they hang out all the time. Best friends.
Yeah, and I look at my parents and my parents' friends.
And they met through us, like the kids playing.
Yeah. My parents
at 8 years old together.
My dad, not so much. My dad is reconnected, and they live back where he was from high school. So most of his friends that he hangs out with are like back from his college or high school past. But my mom, all of her friends are my teammates from Marshalltown, their moms and dads.
Sure.
Yeah. So maybe that's why I'm dreading it, is because I know that I'm going to end up making these new friends. I'm sort of not a social person, as you know.
Yeah.
Like,
and honestly, now that I think about it, it's like, you kind of alluded to like, oh, you feel like kind of a loser because you don't feel like you get that much interaction with your friends because life's moving on. And think back to your childhood. It's like, how often did your parents just hang out with their friends?
It's true.
Not friends who are parents of your friends, even though, like in my example, they became best friends.
Sure,
but like their friends, like my dad is still close with 2 of his college football buddies.
Yeah,
and, they lived in the area as well. Didn't see him that often.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. My dad would go to Vegas once a year with his high school college group.
Okay.
And has every year, and that has become more frequent. It's like 2 or 3 times a year now. A little ridiculous. Guys just want to go to Vegas,
I mean, if we made it a year thing, I wouldn't be upset.
My mom, oh God, like maybe like once every 4 years or 5 years, she would see like a friend from high school or college. It's nuts, dude. It's Grant, are you depressed yet listening to this? Dude, just know that the friends you have right now.
You're 2 weeks away from this, brother.
You're 2 weeks away from never seeing your friends again.
Yeah, I'm doing the math in my head. I'm like, this is potentially just right around the corner.
Like, how many boys do you have right now? 2 or 3 best friends in college?
Yeah, I got we got a good core group. I live with most of them.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Say goodbye to that.
Yeah. I graduate in like 2 weeks now, right? And I kind of sit around sometimes like, I like a lot of these dudes, but it's a good chance after I leave, like I might just never see some of these people ever again.
I think the moral of the story is like you have to make it a priority to see your friends.
You have to schedule it.
And for us, like we've gone through that phase where like everyone's gotten married for the last 5 years, and that's how we got together like once a year. Not everyone made it to every wedding, but like Josie got married, then Ike got married.
I got married.
Kluver got married. And
Bo got married.
I'm getting married this year. Drake's probably never getting married, but
we'll all meet at Drake's funeral.
We'll be at Drake's funeral, yeah. But from here on out, it's like we're gonna have to make it a point to get together if we want to get together.
Yeah, we're gonna have to make this trip.
Like just like, hey guys, once a year, we gotta set a weekend aside
and just go.
We just gotta go. Yeah,
I know.
And that's probably all you're gonna get, right? So, wife and kids. You can't ask for much more than 1 weekend away.
You can't ask for much more. And honestly, once you don't really, there's some variance in how much you'd like it or not. But like, if you like your wife and you like your kid, like you want to be around them. You don't, like you don't want to be away.
Mm-hmm.
We've done this. We've planned a few things in the past or whatever. And Ike will be like, I just don't want to be away from the kids that long. And then like I had Kin and I started to understand that. I'm like, yeah, just like for the last 2 weeks, the joke has been Kin is a daddy's girl just all the time. Dad, like never says mom. Like Lauren's getting pretty annoyed by it.
Yeah.
And the whole joke has been like, Kin, are you going to be okay? Like I'm gone for 3-4 days. Like you're going to have to be with mom for the weekend. Like, what are you guys going to do? They got a whole weekend playing with grandma and stuff. But yeah, I'm like, come Saturday, I'm going to be missing the wife and kid pretty bad. Like you get pretty attached. So I'm sure that was a super relatable conversation for a lot of people out there. And I hope I didn't make any of you sad, but maybe it's a little wake up call. Like, hey, call your group of boys right now.
Go send a text to your buddies. It's like, hey, we got to make it happen. Let's get together.
If nothing changes, nothing changes. You have to make it happen here. So that's what it is. 26 minutes is where I'll direct the people to. Welcome to the meat and potatoes of the podcast. All right. There's a couple Hawkeyes that got taken in the NFL draft this week, and we're going to talk about them. 4 of them to be exact. And it's funny, 0 Huskers taken. Kevin had to step away.
The entire draft?
What? No Huskers. 0. Not a single corn shucker was taken in all 7 rounds, all 280 picks or 200. I don't know how many picks are there.
Unfortunate.
Well, is it unfortunate that no Cornhuskers were taken? I think it's kind of funny.
I'm sure they were hoping that people were going to get drafted.
Reason that could be a secondary sort of a back end, maybe a problem for Hawkeye fans later is the fact that they had a lot of guys stay and use their COVID year. So I think, what is it? This upcoming season is the last time people can use a COVID year, maybe next year. And
yeah, I think so.
And Nebraska's bringing back a pretty experienced. I mean, so is Iowa, but Nebraska is bringing back a pretty experienced defense, and they've got Raiola making all these plays at the spring game. I saw the highlights. Throws a nice ball. Threw a couple nice balls, and I think they got some guys. Searle sort of talked about that in his episode. They're catching a few athletes at the skill position, so. That should be a more veteran team in year 2 under Matt Rule. So
that would make sense. Yeah.
And, I think they're I haven't looked at their schedule, but I think they're probably a 500 ball club. Like, I think Rule's the guy that's finally going to dig them out of this hole. I don't know if he takes them to the top of the mountain, but I think he's better than Frost. I think he's already proven that. Yeah. So, also, Tory Taylor. And we'll get to him. He wasn't the first guy off the board for the Hawks, but Tory Taylor was drafted before Iowa State's best guy, meaning our punter was better than every possible draft-eligible player from the Cyclones. And that's something you do love to see, Grant. Something you love to see.
No, I think the Bears got a steal there. I had a first-round grade on Tory Taylor in my mock drafts, in my power rankings.
He fell.
Yeah, I think they got a total steal.
They nabbed him there, huh?
I think that was a total steal. I can't believe they got him that late. Fell right into the Bears' lap.
Punter is weird. Special teams is weird because it's super supply and demand oriented. So you might have a guy like Tory who, and Tory might be an outlier because Tory was, I think he's the second highest drafted punter since 2019. So in the last 5 years, he's the second highest punter drafted. Since 2012, he's the third highest punter drafted in the last over a decade. And
which is crazy.
So
I would have assumed 4th round was the highest any punter has ever gone.
I don't even know who I guess, was it Townsend maybe?
I'm looking right now. The highest, I believe it's this Ron Stark was taken in the 2nd round in 1982.
Okay. Can I get a common era? Can I get
pre-Google or
search me 2019 punter drafted and 2012 punter drafted, because those were the 2 years they gave. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make there is like a guy like Torrey, sort of generational. At least they expect him to be. He's plus all the attention that he's gotten from McAfee and the national media the last few years. He is a guy that he was probably going to get taken regardless. Mm-hmm. But like your average good punter, like the top 3 punters coming out every year, they could be unbelievable, like exceptional punters. But if every NFL team kind of had like a good situation going on last year, if every team was just like, yeah, we were okay. And there's years like that in special teams where there's usually 1 or 2 kickers or 1 or 2 punters that didn't do great. But with the amount of guys out there who are trying to catch on, we've talked about Shudak and Keith Duncan and Miguel Racinos. I mean, just the fact that those 3 guys right there, with how good they were for the Hawks, and none of them caught on, that means that they're getting beat out by other guys who these NFL teams are considering like, they're okay.
Yeah.
So the skill level, the amount of luck, and like there's just the demand doesn't quite meet the supply for these guys. And in turn, what that means is like you could have a great, great, great kicker or a great punter. Every once in a while, a long snapper would get drafted. I don't know if any snappers got drafted this year. They could be great, and they could be a free agent pickup after the draft because there's just no need. Like people don't want to spend a pick on them. So for them to grab Torrey at 122, I believe, 4th round, pick 122. Kev, Torrey Taylor, bear down, huh?
Which was at the time, I believe, their last pick of the draft.
And then they picked up one.
They traded for another one, I think, in like the next round.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the time.
Crazy.
We're going to cap our draft off here, 4th round, punter.
Start it with Caleb Williams, end it with Torrey Taylor.
It's good bookends there.
And then you see Caleb sent Torrey a text like, hey, we're not going to need you a whole bunch.
Yeah. And then all the jokesters and the replies were like, a lot of fumbling and interceptions incoming.
Twitter will never let you win.
No, of course not.
So I did want to share those. So the 2012 guy was Brian Anger.
Oh, yeah.
Jaguars selected him in the 3rd round, 70th overall.
Wow.
But this is so in 1979, Russell Erkspin. I don't know how to pronounce. There's a lot of consonants next to each other there, but he was drafted 11th overall.
You're shitting me.
In 1979,
he had to play some other position too.
He's probably like QB punter hybrid, but
right.
Ray Guy went 23rd overall.
Oh my God!
Overall,
Christ.
Yeah.
Hey, they valued the punter and field position back then, Kevin. They valued them.
No shit.
I saw a lot of hybrid Bear Iowa fans, because that's why it was so big. Like a ton of Iowa fans are of the Kevin bloodline there, where it's like, hey, I'm from Chicago. They're not really from Chicago. They're from like Aurora or
the Chicagoland area.
The Chicagoland area. But like they hang around Chicago, or they come to Iowa City, or they come to work in Cedar Rapids. So they're all Bears fans and they're Hawkeye fans. And so Torrey couldn't have hit better, because now he has half the fan base already knows who he is. A lot of people on Twitter are like, hey, I know this is a joke. Like, this isn't fun. Like, Torrey is going to be a massive pick for us. Everybody get very excited about this, because our field position is about to be absolutely elite. And I would agree with them. Like, what a pickup. And I'm excited for Torrey.
The cheers of when Torrey Taylor goes out there are going to be, for some Bears fans, it will be very unexpected. But
they're going to be very
You're
confused.
Right. There's a high percentage of Iowa fans that
they will catch on quickly.
Yes.
They will catch on quickly. In that stadium, which, by the way, did you guys see the new concept for the new Bears stadium?
It's like the 8th one.
I don't think I have. No, I know where they're planning on putting it.
It looked absolutely
where the old horse racing facility track was.
So it looks unbelievable, but it's going to cost $800 trillion or whatever. So it's always just concept right now. Anyway, I don't know if Caleb Williams is the answer. A lot of people seem to think he is. The Bears are kind of cursed as of late. Jay Cutler is like their best quarterback in the last 2 decades. So
what's wrong with Jay Cutler?
Nothing. I love Jay Cutler.
Jay Cutler actually had a couple solid years there, especially when he had Alshon Jeffrey to throw it to.
Yeah.
Alshon Jeffrey was a dog.
But this is probably the best receiving core the Bears have had in a while.
They got Rome Odunze, and that's a hell of a. I mean, they had a good draft.
That's an awesome pickup to go who you want to be your franchise quarterback and who you are expecting to be top level talent at receiver.
One of the two best receivers in the draft. Yeah.
Yeah. To get them in the same draft, and hopefully they, can get a good understanding of each other, good compatibility.
Yeah.
What's also, how many times does the number 1 pick go to a 7-10 team last year?
Like were they 7-10?
Yeah, the Bears were. I mean, they started out like 0-5 or whatever, but they usually you're going to like a 2-3 win team. Like the Bears. I mean,
let's not make any mistake and say that the Bears are not. Are not a dumpster fire organization. They've been running pretty poorly for the last decade.
Right, but I'm saying like situationally, like Bryce Young last year went to the
better than Bryce Young going.
That was tough for Bryce,
right?
Yeah.
Like situationally, like Caleb Williams, it's not bad.
It's not the worst.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is like he has some targets to throw the ball to, right?
Does he? They still got issues on the offensive line.
Keenan Allen's on the twilight of his career, but you got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, a rookie, Roman Doomsday, who should be pretty solid. So
yeah, Komet as the tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kev, would you consider yourself a Bears fan?
Not really. I guess if I gun to my head and I had to pick a team, I'd say the Bears. We were never a huge NFL family growing up. We were all in on college football.
Sure.
And then it's like kind of like since it's been, hey, who are my buddies playing for? And
now it's just like who's I'm a Niners fan just because it's George.
There is one, Niners, and I guess I'm a Panthers fan now.
Definitely, dude. We're huge.
This is a Bills fan there for a while for Ike, and
this is a huge Panthers podcast, by the way. We're a JMU Dukes podcast. We're also now a Carolina Panthers podcast, which is kind of sad, but I'm hyped for it. Let's do it.
We got to move to the East Coast. Then, what you're saying?
So yeah, basically, we got to take this operation.
Where's JMU? Are they in
Harrisonburg, Virginia?
Yeah, they're in Virginia.
They're in Virginia. That's right.
We got to take this into the Atlantic Ocean, probably. We do have one resident true NFL fan, that is producer Grant. And how do we feel about Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos?
I trust Sean Payton. I think it's fine. And I think too at his spot, it's like, okay, like is Bo Nix maybe like grade wise a reach at 12? Sure. But I was thinking like who else did you want to pick? Like we needed a QB, right? This is what we needed. Like he likes Bo Nix a lot.
If you don't pick a quarterback there, who is the quarterback for the Broncos?
Probably either Zach Wilson, Jarrett Stidham, Ben DiNucci, or another, like maybe they get Michael Pratt or something later.
Sounds like a group of studs, honestly.
They get Spencer Rattler later or something. So I don't know. I think it sounds like Peyton really, really likes Bo Nix, so I'm just gonna trust it. And I will be a Knicks defender, so don't to the death.
Okay.
But I like the Broncos draft. We got good guys. We got a lot of studs.
Okay.
A lot of studs out there.
Good for you guys. Hey, I hope it works out.
Also, I kind of wanted Brock Bowers secretly at 12, but it's okay.
That would have been cool.
Yeah. It stinks too that he goes then to the Raiders, the very next pick. So now instead of having Brock Bowers, you get to play him twice a year.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, tough.
I'm a Bo Nix guy. I watched a lot of the highlights.
Sure, you did.
Saw a lot of the tape, and I'm a believer.
All right, I'm glad that you're happy with it. Glad that you come away from the weekend happy. Very cool to see the scenes there in Detroit. Eminem walks out on stage to open the draft. They crushed the record for draft attendance. Like 700,000 people attended it.
And that's something I was curious. What do people do the entire time? It's like a name gets announced every 10 minutes. Like the people that are standing there a mile away from the stage, what are you doing?
There must be like beer vendors. So you just stand there and drink.
So, yeah.
No, it's a giant tailgate.
Yeah, I think it's a tailgate. I think there's probably like out back, like towards the back of it in the open fields. Like I think they set up there's like events, there's activations, there's brands, there's play some bags, in the more open spots towards the. I don't know, but they got 700,000 people there, and it was kind of insane. Detroit went nuts. Detroit is a football town right now because they're riding that wave of Sam Laporta and Jack Campbell and the Lions, who just went to a division championship. Yeah, a division championship,
NFC championship,
or a conference championship. Yeah, and I think it's cool to see the Lions be good. It's cool to see bad teams get good. So
I'm a Dan Campbell fan. I like.
Oh, Dan Campbell is so awesome.
He would be awesome to play for.
First. We'll get to the other three now. We talked about Torrey a little bit. First Hawkeye off the board, and everybody knew this was going to be the case, was Cooper DeJean, although a little later than people expected. He was kind of projected in that first Eagles pick slot from 22 all the way to the back of the first round, 22 to 32. Coop not only slides to the second round, but then he slides another like 6 or 8 picks to 40. And the Eagles get him anyway. They got Quinyon.
They had to be psyched about that.
Dude, they got Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, I think they had like the 31st pass ranked defense last year or something like that.
Like that.
They're probably like, yeah, who do we want at this 22 spot? We got our choice of DB because I don't think any DBs have been chosen at that point.
Nope.
Like, this guy's crazy athletic. We gotta go with this guy. I think he runs like a 4.3 flat.
The kid from Toledo he's sort of like freaking nature. I mean, so is Coop.
You're like, we would be great at Coop, but I think this guy could be like a shutdown, lockdown corner.
Yeah.
And then they're probably like, end of the first night happens, like, how many picks are we away from?
Got a chance.
And it comes around like, boom, we got him. That's all.
And dude, they have Darius Slay at one corner already, and I think he's a top 5 guy in the league right now. You put him up there with guys like Sauce Gardner, Jalen Ramsey, name a few others. You got Darius Slay on one side, you put this Quinyon Mitchell at the other corner, and then you throw Cooper in as the nickel back or maybe rotating in at safety reps. Like,
put him wherever you want him. Wherever
you need him. Their defense was already like pretty good.
Their pass defense wasn't,
but I mean, god damn, they are. I saw a few tweets. There's some crazy NFL fans on Twitter, and Coop got drafted, and underneath, the NFL tweet of that was like, how the did the Eagles come away with the 2-bet? Like, I am a so-and-so fan, and I am pissed about this. How do we let them get away with this? Like, other teams were absolutely livid that the Eagles were able to do that. And yeah, it's hey, now we're Philadelphia fans.
I was gonna say, are you gonna get a Kelly Green DeJean jersey?
Probably not, but if I was ever gonna cross the path,
okay,
the Kelly Green DeJean would be up there. The black and blue jewel jersey would be up there. A Kittle jersey would be up there, but only of our guys. I'm never gonna wear
Coop's
someone.
Not your guy.
I just mentioned Coop, Josie,
okay.
Kittle.
Right. Just want to make sure. Did you guys see that crazy question he got asked like right after on
there's not a lot of white corners.
He basically got asked, like, will being white stop you from playing cornerback in the NFL?
It really is funny how when it's a question, and I don't care about any of this, but like it's a little bit outrageous.
It's a question you'd never ask any other race
whatsoever. Just quickly flip that. It's like a D lineman who's like Hawaiian. They're like, you think Hawaiian might kind of mess you up playing D line in the NFL? What, sir? What?
It's like 20 years ago, like the stigma about black quarterbacks, right?
Yeah. Or somebody like, back in the 60s, somebody just like, asking Hank Aaron. They're like, you think being black's going to be tough for you playing baseball? It's like, what? Dude, Coop's up there like, they put me wherever. I'll play wherever. I'll just play wherever, Yeah. Cool to see him go. Lost some money there. Those as you slide a pick and pick and pick. I mean, if he could have gone at 22 and he's at 40, it's a lot of money. But Coop will make a lot of money, likely in that second contract. You just trust that he will, and he's just one of those guys. Like he'll turn out fine. He's an Iowa guy. Second guy off the board. Wasn't a Hawk for as long as we would have liked him to be, or as many reps as we would have liked him to be. But I think it was like 114. Eric All off the board. Tight end goes to the Bengals, and a lot of people when he got drafted calling him like one of the sleepers of the draft because of his injury. He was kind of low key. He slips to the 4th round. He's athletic as hell. He can run, and if he's healthy,
that's his big thing. He's got to stay healthy,
dude. If he's healthy, I think he's got potential to be an NFL starter. Like he could be the guy. And then finally, Logan Lee, friend of the show. Didn't talk anything about football when he came on, but we knew that he was impressive. And obviously a few teams thought he was impressive as well. 6th round. He's going to stay in the black and gold, which is great. Looks great on him. He's a Steeler kind of guy going out to Pittsburgh.
Big time.
Yeah, I feel like he screams Pittsburgh. Steelers.
If there was one team Logan Lee was going to go play for, it's Pittsburgh.
Here we go.
Dude, I'm happy for him. And hey,
That'd be a good defense, man. Yeah.
And I don't know where he, if you go to like ourlads.com, they always have the updated depth charts like right away. Steelers depth chart. And they're pretty accurate on like where guys are going to be slotted in as far as first and second seeds or first and second strings. And they slot Logan Lee in. All right, so they got him third at D tackle, but I saw him. Oh well, you're behind Cameron Hayward there, so that's the automatic second string. But they said they see him as they could kind of play him wherever, and that he's not going to be on the edge like standing up a whole lot, but he's going to be.
TJ Watt does that job pretty well for them.
Yeah, TJ Watt is pretty good.
Yeah, he's all right.
But yeah, he's gonna. I'm excited to see Logan Lee. I think he's a guy that sticks. I think he sticks.
I agree.
Now, do you think his teammates might be a little shocked at first by his diet, his shake?
That's the only thing that's working against him is like the GM just watches him throw a whole chicken breast in the blender, and he's just like, I just can't handle that.
There could be issues if the rest of the team or some staff walk into the facility and he is just blending a whole chicken breast and five.
He said 9 eggs too. We might as well just put the whole chicken in there.
9 eggs and a whole chicken breast in a Vitamix, and he's in there like, yeah, hey guys, it doesn't taste that. It's actually not that bad,
I think was that one of our more viral clips is him describing his shake. It's up there, right?
I wouldn't call it viral, but out of clips that we've put up, it's definitely in like the top 10 or 15%.
It's well above average.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't match the, choose your animals in a arena clip from last summer. I have to go back and see if
what a weird world we live in.
Yeah, that was wild.
If that tells you anything, that just tells you that we have to go further away from sports and just talk about more about nonsense.
Well, that makes me think that our conversation earlier about being lonely and not having friends might go viral within the middle-aged community. Like we might get like 500,000 clips if Grant clips say like, "Hey, you have no friends? Make it happen. Call your buddies right now. Plan that trip to Vegas." Like that. Hey, that might become a sound that people use, and then they like
rally the boys,
and then they rally. Yeah, I don't know. Any other thoughts from draft weekend? From either of you?
Shout out Joe Evans, picked up.
Hey, there we go. That's that. Thank you for that. We got a few that got picked up. Joe Evans going to the Ravens. Steven Stelianos, who didn't get as much time as he probably would have liked for the Hawks, but he's, I think, signed with the Titans. Noah Shannon, who got absolutely boned by the NCAA. And I think the kids who got boned by that just opened up a lawsuit. I think they just opened up a lawsuit. I don't know, but they should get so much money. He'll be going out to Las Vegas. We might see Kevin and I might see him this week. Who knows?
We should hit him up.
He'll
be there.
He'll be out there.
He'll be rookie minicamp, right?
Who else got picked up? Joe, Noah, Steven. There was one more.
Oh, poor guy. I'm just forgetting about him. Now I feel bad.
Who else would have been a senior that was trying to like?
I was gonna say I feel like every senior on defense came back. So
dude, I can't think.
I'm
missing somebody.
I don't think there is any. No.
Maybe there isn't anymore. I thought there was 4. But that makes 7, maybe 8.
Noah to the Raiders. Yes, Stelianos to the Titans, and then Joe Evans to the Ravens.
Okay.
No, he's Joe Evans to the Ravens, not the Raiders.
Ravens, yeah.
I'll take it.
So, shout out to the boys. Something Kevin and I didn't get to do. Wish we would have.
Oh, do we count make it like 4.5? Tyrone Tracy. He's going to the NFL.
Tyrone got drafted in the 4th round, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, and it's funny they threw up just like exclusively Iowa highlights when he got drafted
against us or when he was playing for us.
No, like he was playing, and they had like 21 to 23 on the.
His career at Purdue wasn't that great. I don't think.
No, it wasn't. Kid's athletic. That kid's got talent. If he can find the right spot, I think he might have the ability to stick on a roster somewhere too, for a couple years at least.
He's old, man. I feel like his first year was the year after we got there.
Pretty close. At least 18, maybe 19. So he's,
if not 18, 2019 was his first year.
I mean, yeah, he's 24, probably.
Yeah, I feel like he was.
Which is old in the NFL. If you're 24, 25, that's again the weird thing with these next couple drafts is like you've got guys that are old, man. Like you're just like how much tread you got left?
By the time you get to your second contract, you're past your prime.
Yeah, like how much tread's left on this tire, brother? You know.
So if we're talking age, how do you guys feel about the big talk is the Falcons' decision to take Michael Penix?
Wild.
A wild decision.
They just signed Kirko Cousy to like $400 billion, and they decide with the 8th pick to grab Penix.
Right. I mean, you signed Kirk Cousins to a big deal, thinking like, okay, you have a window that you can compete here for like what is that? 3 years, 4 years?
You would think the idea
would
be.
I think it's 4, but there's probably.
I believe it's 4.
Let's say you think you have a 3-year window that you can go win. That's why you signed this guy for a shit ton of money, which means you should probably get somebody that can help you out in those.
Get him some weapons.
Yeah.
Or get him an offensive lineman to block for him, or get help out the defense. Like do anything, but get
anything
other
than a guy that's going to sit on the bench.
So weird, man.
Right, like you can maybe look at it like next year or the year after that. Get somebody who can sit behind him
this year.
And also, again, you're getting somebody to sit behind a guy who's already like 25 years old.
Yeah, if Kirk plays out his contract, I mean,
Penix will be 29 when
Penix is going to have 2 kids and a wife and he'll already be pulling retirement by the time he gets a chance to start. I mean, it's crazy. That's crazy.
It's almost like I guess it's never terrible to go top 10, but it's like almost a bad situation for Penix too. Like, you don't want to get drafted into a spot where you got to play right away and there's just nothing around you to help you develop it at all. But at the same time, like he's already a pretty developed quarterback. I mean, he's one of the more veteran quarterbacks in the draft than Bo Nix, right? And sure, like NFL is obviously way different than college, and a year might be beneficial to him to sit on the bench and learn. But I don't know. Are they planning on cutting Kirk Cousins in a couple of years?
I don't know, man.
Russell Wilson on him, pay him a bunch of money for.
If I'm Kirk, I'm feeling good though, because either way, I got like that $100 and some million contract. I will say this: out of all the quarterbacks drafted, and there was a record.
I think if I was Kirk Cousins, I'd be pissed.
Oh, you're certainly pissed.
He said he had no idea that
they called him when they were on the clock, and they were like, "Hey, by the way, we're gonna draft Penix right here," and he was like,
"Fucking why?"
Like, okay.
You guys see the clip of the owner?
The owner talking to the
not
wild.
It's like trying to comprehend what the GM is doing.
He was trying to explain it to him, like, hey, but like, listen, bro, like, listen, this is the plan. And he was just like,
and the owner's just like not comprehending it whatsoever.
Like everybody else on earth. Out of the 6 quarterbacks in that record first 6 of 12 picks, I do think the most interesting, and I'm very intrigued to see how he does, is I want to see what JJ McCarthy does with the Vikings. I'm intrigued to know if he's going to translate. I think everybody's a little bit like, is he going to be good? Is he going to be
going to be good, or is he just on a good team?
Right. And I think they're giving him the keys. And what?
I
like that.
Yeah.
JJ's got the keys, and who knows? I kind of like the Vikings. Like if I had to pick a team, maybe like the Vikes are cool. I like the Rams, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
McCarthy's done a lot of winning. We'll see if he can, if part of that is because of him.
I'm interested to see. I don't think he's going to a great situation right now, but I think Jaden Daniels might end up being the best quarterback.
Dog.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm curious about Drake May the most.
Yeah.
I think his is interesting. Like the Patriots,
they're all going to get ample opportunity here.
Yeah.
One of the funnier memes I saw come out of the weekend was Marvin Harrison.
He might be the best player. when we look back in this draft class.
Somebody tweeted a photo of Marvin Harrison and Kyler Murray's first appearance together, them meeting. And it's just a picture of Marvin Harrison Jr. like so big on the left. And I'm like, and then you look at the bottom and it's half of Kyler Murray's head. It's like, man, this guy just gets absolutely torched for being 5'11". It's the funniest thing.
He might be a good fantasy pickup, man. DeAndre Hopkins had a really good year when Kyler was thrown to him.
Yeah, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a plug and play, like immediate, good, like wide receiver 1 option in fantasy. Like he's just a sure thing. He's so good. He's so polished. I mean, it helps when you have those genetics, but
he'd probably be better than his dad.
I mean, I think his dad's a Hall of Famer, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
Jeez, I mean that's a lot to put on a kid, but he's got the raw talent, that's for sure.
He doesn't have Peyton Manning thrown to him.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Certain. Yeah. Kyler is no Peyton, not even close. But we'll see. Fun draft episode / you don't have friends after 23 episode, and I'm glad we can talk about it. And this is part of why we have this podcast, so we can get on. Me and Kevin can not feel lonely. We can fight our depression as adults in America, and we're happy that you joined us. By the way, decision that I just told the boys before this, we talked about how it was dry season. It was just so dry for content, and I realized that a lot of you, even the common every week, every episode listeners during the season. In the out of season, you got things going on. It's not football. There's no football week to week. You don't care as much. Maybe you're into another sport. It is absolutely dry, as well as the next couple months are super busy for the tech guy here, the one who runs this show. And then towards the end of that, Kevin's getting married as well. So we've got a lot going on this summer. So multitude of reasons. We're going to switch to 1 episode per week moving forward. We're not going anywhere on the Patreon. Drake and Gary Friday still happening basically every week. DHT happening basically every week. If you want to sign up and still get your 2 exclusive podcasts behind the paywall there, patreon.com/washedupwalk-ons. We will have 1 normal episode. And then sometime back in maybe early July, middle July, we'll pick back up with the 2 weekly as we head back into the season. That's pretty much it. Thanks for joining us. As always, Washed Up Walk-Ons. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.